Hi, everybody. I see some people are on already. It is a very windy, raining day here in Cape Town, and I'm actually still trying to get my stream labs really on the go. But I also felt I wanted to give something to you because I said I would go live again on Friday. And then I was so tired that I thought this morning, maybe not. I will do it today. So I did it today. I want to also get you all on show chat. I also want to see some people on chat and maybe answer to some people. Hi, Brian. Nice to see you here. So it does work. I'm so glad that I have more input and always my daughter, Julia, to give me advice and to help me on any technology stuff. So I want to start and first of all say to you, in my last YouTube video, I said that it was full moon. It wasn't full moon. The full moon is at the end of May, on the 26th of May, and it's basically also a lunar eclipse. In other words, there's a full eclipse in Sagittarius, which also influences all the other people, but it's especially for Sagittarians and Gemini people, it's very relevant. So if you want to know how the eclipse will have an effect on you, you can basically go back to 19 years ago, that is then 2002. If you can remember, we were all also quite restricted, and it was very seriously secured because it was just after 2001, 9/11, and traveling was really also quite tight. And then also, I still remember all the things that happened to me during that year. And I thought very often it's a good pointer to know maybe the lessons that you don't want to repeat, or that you can really go with the punches. And I do feel that everybody who's alive at the moment and really prepared to make changes, that of course they will come up on top. Mariki Yule, if you do not write to me any questions, then I cannot help you. I want to start with Denise Johnston. You wrote to me whether you will actually go and join your children in England. Denise, what is very important is that your life mission is actually a life mission of staying in several places and really experiencing a lot of adventure with travel and living in different countries. The only thing that I really know that I need to say to you here, you are a family person. If you can live your life fully without being dependent on your family in England, why would you not move to England to be closer to your family? I also feel that it's very important that you look at it and that you know that you can be fully independent and still really doing what you want to be doing, and that you're not dependent on your children because you're the same age as I am, which is really our generation most probably will live up to 80 or 90 if our parents, like our parents, have a lot of us had parents who lived up to their 90s and into their hundreds. So I feel, Denise, that you need to be in your truth. You need to know in your depth of your heart, with your inner voice, you need to know that you really want to do this. Otherwise, rather stay where you feel secure, where you have your friends, where you have your circle of friends, because I feel that it's very important that we stay strong when we grow older, to have our own friends, to have our own circle of people. In other words, to have our spiritual family as well, before we just become dependent on our children, and then we also become old very quickly. Orlandi van Wyk Killian, I just first want to help you here with your sister. Your sister comes through as very excited, hyper excited about coming through to give you a message here and waving to you as if she looks through a window. She sees you. She knows I'm there to give you the message, and she just shows how she kisses you and how she is happy to see you, and that you're asking and that you're wanting to connect, and that she's aware. I don't know how long time ago she passed, but she shows me that she's aware that you put on candles for her, that you're still sad about her passing, and that you mustn't be, that she's very happy. There's also something about a dog and a ball that is with her, so maybe she loved playing with the dog and the ball and playing with dogs. She was very playful and very loving and very happy, a happy-go-lucky kind of personality. And that's the way that she comes through, and she wants you to remember her like that. And yes, burn the candles for her, make the contact with her, because she is there for you. Ethel Inns, any message from your friend Pauline? Yes. Pauline is not as yet in a good place. Maybe she passed 3-4 years, months, weeks ago. But my feeling is she was really not well, either very depressed or very sick. Then I see people in a very dark spot. And I see her in a very dark place. And she hasn't recovered yet. You're welcome, Orlandi. Could you relate to what I was saying? I would like you to let me know. And Pauline says she will take her time. She will open her eyes. She's aware that her mother, it's a motherly figure, is waiting for her to shake this. I have the feeling it was a lot of medication, to shake all this medication off before she can move on. She always took her time. So you mustn't worry about her. But prayer is a very powerful connection that we can have with people that have moved over. And if you don't experience her at times, then pray for her, like the Jabez prayer, when you also pray for your own, that you're really protected and that you don't feel pain, and that you ask for protection also for your whole surroundings and for your environment of work, your family, and everything else. So if you really have an issue with you not being able to connect to somebody who passed on, then use prayer and meditation to make the contact. Or like a lot of people at the moment say, they're dreaming of somebody, or they have certain experiences in the house. As soon as you have experiences where you immediately think and your gut feeling says, oh, this is my mum coming through, or you find a flower in the road, or a twig, or a feather, or a coin, or you see certain birds, or you see certain animals, you need to know then that that is a message for you. You don't have to think about it, because then you're disconnecting from your heart. Then you're disconnecting also from your intuition. So don't do that. Don't go into the head and say, it was just a bird. It wasn't a feather. It's most probably a bird that's lying dead around the corner, and these are all the feathers. If you want to really take all your magic out of your life, you're actually doing yourself harm, because you could live a much more magical, happier life if you respond to synchronicity, or you think of your mum and you see that it's 10 minutes past 10, and then you think, oh, her birthday was also on the 10th. And then you know it's a message for you. It's just through synchronicity that you then have that message. So don't take away that naivety, that pure childlike faith that our people on the other side, our loved ones, even our friends that have passed on, when we think of them, they're already there. They're anyway in a parallel level to us. So they're always connected. So know that they're there when you think of them, that they've already thought of you, and that they most probably say to you, oh, I'm so glad you eventually take some time out. You sit still, you have a cup of tea, and you have a bit of time to daydream. And with that, you suddenly have the remembrance of people on the other side. Remember that we cannot get easily message from our loved ones if we rush around, zoom around like mad people. I'm just lucky that I always have contact with loved ones because I have practice every day, and I have always had practice. It's a talent, and I worked on the talent. Before I go any further now with anybody else, Brian Fowle, your father comes through rather adamant to bring you the message of he loves you. He says it in different words. He says more like he's proud of you. You mustn't worry. He's okay. And with Brian Fowle as an example, I want to say to you that please, people, when you go into your emotions and you have too many regrets and guilt feelings, you're actually moving into a very low vibration of emotion where you cannot feel your connection to God or to faith or your people that are your loved ones anymore, because you're like sitting in a sewerage. So remember, you can't sit in the sewerage and smell of roses, and you definitely don't have contact with your loved ones. When you sit in the sewerage, when you're very guilt-ridden, when you're very depressed, when you're very much comfortable in misery, and often people don't even know when they're there. But I have certain people who I had befriended in the past that are not my friends anymore, but they were acquaintances. And you know, they would say to you, stay away from negative people. But they would be in situations where they're in dead-end jobs for 14, 17 years, but they still sit in that job. So be very careful what you say, because you're actually projecting onto other people in an area where you're in, or in a mood where you're in. And when you look at other people and say, be careful of negative people, first look at yourself, because that might be exactly who you are. So there's a lot of projection at the moment also taking place. And it's very important at the moment that you realize that a lot of people at the moment, especially after 2020, we are all in a spiritual crisis, and you cannot medicate a spiritual crisis when you really find your happiness within yourself and your spiritual path within yourself, which is a very personalized situation and a personalized quest. Because I'm saying this with in inverted commas, a church and other people are not the people who should give you prescribed instructions how you need to believe or what do you need to believe. Because at the moment, even if we believe the media, what they are broadcasting, then you're in real trouble, because you need to actually question everything and research everything before you speak it. Because if it's not your research, don't believe it. Stay in the light. Stay in the light means you live your life You find the pleasures again. You find the fun again. You find your passion and what you love doing. And with that, I want to go to Tosca Mattia. You said whether you should stay in your marriage or not. Tosca, a marriage is something that you signed up to maybe years ago. Remember that pain and suffering and is not love. And sometimes love is not enough. And my feeling is, Tosca, that you are somebody who always makes compromises for everybody else. And maybe it's time that you think of yourself. If you need to stay because you don't have a position at the moment where you can take care of yourself, then get yourself into a position that you can be financially independent. But then you also need to know that your marriage has moved into a bargaining manipulation contract here of financial contract, where you get the finances, and for that you most probably then cook for your husband, do for your husband whatever needs to be done, but then start thinking of how you can really look in getting independent and being on your own and really being happy with yourself. Because when you're constantly suppressed, depressed, it's most likely because you've lost a part of your soul. And to find that back again and to find your unique personality and to find your freedom, it will take a leap of faith. And a leap of faith is exactly what it says, that you make sure that you will have your finances, or that you have a certain way that you can make money with, because to have no changes is not going to happen. We will always have changes. The only thing that is really not going to change is death and taxes. The rest will change. And even if then your partner dies, you will also need to know how to look after yourself, that you don't rely on a pension, because that way of thinking is long time overdue. So when we stay being passionate about something and we keep on working with that passion, even earning money with that passion and with something that we really love doing, then we will also not grow old, and we will keep our guardian angels and spiritual entities around us, because we still need them, because we have still plans and goals and ideas, and we look for direction. We're not half dead already, which most people are when they're retired. So really know that. Brian? Brian Fowle? I don't know what you mean here, because I never read anything about media, or I'm very seldom on any Facebook or whatever. Know that your dad is really with you, and he is a wise soul. And where I see him on the other side, he is very focused on you. He's with you. He's with you. And sometimes when I say he's with you, and I get this goose flesh, then it reminds me of Avatar, where when you get into your blue body and they say to each other, I see you. I see you. That was said from the soul. And that is what I want to say to you here, Brian, is that your father is with you. That is with soul, with his spirit, with the love that he has, and that all the rest is basically gone. To finish off here, Tosca, my feelings is And you wanted to also a message from your parents where I want to say, don't think that you need to get the messages for your life from your parents or your sister or your brother or your husband, because they had their own life, they had their own belief systems, they did their own things. If you haven't learned to really tune into your own integrity, in other words, into your own inner mentor, then it's something that you need to start doing for yourself, because you will become empowered, hugely empowered, when you can live that you get up. I get up in the mornings and then I think, all right, what is my body telling me? What kind of exercises am I going to do today? What kind of breakfast am I going to have? I need to say to this as well, I don't eat sugar anymore. I don't have dairy products. I don't eat sugar. I prefer things from the farm, fruit and vegetables. And even when I eat meat, I prefer to be organic or from the farm. You need to listen to your body to feel good about it, because when you're in doubt about anything that somebody else tells you to do, then don't do it. Because your inner voice, your intuition, your inner teacher, your inner mentor will never be wrong. I want to clear something up here as well. People on the other side are not angry with you anymore. And if they come through in dreams that they are angry with you, it's your projection. Then it's very necessary that you sit down and you practice 90 days of forgiveness, which you can do with a Ho'oponopono prayer. In other words, you sit in front of a candle. I always light a candle. I light my incense. And then you close your eyes like a prayer. You envision the person that you really want to ask for forgiveness for, and those can be alive or dead. I did that with my ex-partner, ex-husbands, so that I can walk free, because you're actually giving yourself a gift. And then I say, please forgive me. I'm sorry. Thank you. I love you. And initially, if you really have a problem with that because you haven't forgiven really, or you're really still angry, then just do it, because the routine and the discipline of doing it every single day for 3 months, you will be amazed how much you do for yourself, your health, your well-being, and also for you being able to move forward without that emotional baggage. Because it doesn't help us much to blame the other person, to blame anybody for here, or have disputes when even somebody else has moved on. So you can, on this side, make it right with your mother or your father or your late husband. If you fought in this lifetime and the person died, you can do this forgiveness prayer, and maybe you don't feel that there's anything that you wanted to be forgiven for, but do it anyway, because why would you let your ego come into the way? And when you do this prayer, you also help the people on the other side if there was unfinished business between yourself and your husband, or your husband and your wife, or whoever, or your father or your mother, or there was a conflict between you and your son. You can do this Ho'oponopono prayer, forgiveness prayer, with your children, even when you feel that you're still angry, you're still not over the grief, they committed suicide, and you just cannot move on. Then you need to become very vigilant with practices like the forgiveness prayer. I want to look at Zelna Burtis or Bartis. You asked whether your father suffered. Oh, yes, I see him. Zelna Burtis. I see your father driving on his bicycle, and he was actually where he loved to be. He was in nature, or he saw, or he looked into the green, and there was also a fence, which I see. And I want to say to you, very often we on this side make up all our minds. We often think that, oh, they suffered greatly. Often the people that die of a massive heart attack or aneurysm in the brain, or this was Zelna, your father most probably died of a massive heart attack or something that really shocked him. Remember that the shock before somebody dies, like with a massive heart attack, is a shock. You don't suffer while you have it. It's pain, but it's very quickly over. And very often nature has a strange way of taking away the pain so that it's just like a shock, like a car accident or like somebody hitting you or something. It's not really the pain that you feel. So the suffering very often is what we do to ourselves with our thoughts. What I mean by that is your way of thinking about somebody's death and how they died, and maybe you've seen them how they died. Your thoughts, your ideas, how much this must have been suffering or pain, are your thoughts that will make you suffer and have pain, because your thoughts might not be the truth at all, and especially with people dying. They often feel something very quickly. He wasn't aware that he was dying. He just thought it's like really traumatic, and he just wanted to breathe again. And that's what I see, Zelna, with your dad. And then he was over. And then he actually was so glad because he jumped up and he thought, oh my God, did I die? And he did. He did die. There was no thought. He was so quickly out of the body that he actually still jumped because he said he was so scared of snakes. He jumped up because he thought maybe he fell over because of a snake or something. So just know that very often our thoughts are more painful to ourselves than what the people that have passed ever experienced. I know I looked into many areas here, but this is what I have for you today. I will do more live videos if this one has gotten over very, very, very well. And I will also write you a blog about grieving, because there's a lot of people asking about their loved ones, and that we have a look at that. And I will write a blog about that. That you can read and that you can see where are you at and what is really necessary also for yourself to get over a person who's passed on. Because death and dying is a part of our life. It doesn't have to be medicated. We can always love the people that have moved on. And even if we had a fight the day before somebody has passed, that's normal living. At least you had a fight, so you try to clear the air. You never have to feel sorry about that, because you cannot be just in harmony for your whole life, because then something will explode and you are actually suppressing emotions. And when people really loved you and they passed on and you had a fight just before then, remember that love conquers all. If there was love in the relationship, it will be loving further on, and there will be love in general because you had a karmic connection in any case. There was a karmic contract between two people. And to be married or to be in a committed relationship is a lot of compromises, a lot of hard work, and fights are normal. A fight or an argument is normal. It is actually much more healthy than if there is just suppressed emotions and somebody dies, like a lot of women die because they never express their emotions, and then they die of cancer. You need to know when somebody dies of cancer, it is mostly because they've never expressed and never learned how to express their emotions. Those are the typical people who shut up, who don't speak up, who then die of cancer. It's the illness always shows me where there was a problem. On a better note, Make yourself a beautiful, happy, joyful day. Don't forget to do your exercises, to do your prayers, to do your rituals. Do not allow other people to prescribe to you how you have to think. Don't tap into mass fear, because then you open yourself up to any illness and any negative energy. Because when you stay in the light and you live with love, you will not attract illnesses, diseases in the body. Harm Shraddha, yes, office politics is your gut feeling. Yes, it's very much a surrounding harms. Yes. Let me not get into the details, harms, but what I want to say to you is what is important, and what I see at the moment is get yourself a black tourmaline and a rose quartz, and buy small black tourmalines so that you can put them into your pockets. And see to it that you do not have the people behind you, but that you can see them. So, and then wash your hands at the beginning of the day, wash your hands when you come back home, harms, and then do a meditation to cleanse your chakras, to cleanse your body, to cleanse your energy field all together, so that you actually see it and you wipe it and you clean it and you see it golden and silver and glittery. The more glitter, the better. Then don't spend more energies on thinking that you're negative because of your office, because then you're going to create with your thoughts a very negative existence for yourself. With that, I want to leave it at that. Have a beautiful day. If you want to book for a reading, you can do so on my website, mariettatiernissen.com. I also have hard copies of the Finale Keerpunt, my book all about death, dying, and moving into other levels. And in English, it's called The Ultimate Transformation. And you can buy that from me. You can basically send me a text or get in touch with me in the new week, and I will then make arrangements with you. And if you want to book for booking, for reading, you can look up everything on my website, and then I will give you my PA's my WhatsApp number, and she will get back to you with prices or what you've chosen and a date and a booking and a time. I wish you all well, love, light, and laughter.